What's up, TGL? It's Cupid, and today I got some serious question for you guys. You ever wondered about the person standing next to you? You ever walked outside to go get the mail and seen across the street a whole random walking down the sidewalk and just wondered, like, what the fuck did he just come from doing? Or what the hell are the people around me on? Because you really never know. Maybe I'm just too nosy. But sometimes you gotta think like that, because today's video is gonna put it in good perspective. Serial killers that are on the loose today. This is number 2, so I ain't watch number 1. If y'all fuck with this video, I'll watch number 1 too. But serial killers that are still active today, I didn't know that type of thing was a thing. Like, I thought of course there's gonna be murders and shit that where people don't get caught, but serial killers, like, I'm thinking serial killers, like, they all get caught for real. But I guess not. Sheesh. So let's take a look into this video and see how many people you're living next to that's kind of questionable. You know what I'm saying? And also, we're putting this whole in a 1.5 because it's a long video, and I don't want this video to be a long video.
The Texas killing fields. The year is 1977, and it's a hot Texas night in the middle of July. You are heading back home after an evening of spending time with your friends when you decide to pull into a gas station and top up your tank and grab a drink. Once you get back to your vehicle, it's not unlocking, and you notice that your keys are on the driver's seat. This was a common mistake that you've made numerous times before. However,
Hold up, bro. This hoe, it might be a little too fast. My brake kick up for here. 1.25 though. We're not doing normal, bro. This gotta be a little bit faster.
you get back to your vehicle, it's not unlocking, and you notice that your keys are on the driver's seat. This was a common mistake that you've made numerous times before. However, they've never had quite the same outcome.
Can't cap, bro. Like, I don't know, probably like with the newer cars they don't do that, but like having to deal with that lame right there, leaving the keys inside the car. Because I remember when I was a little jit and I used to like be there when that type of issue happened with my dad. I'm not sure if it used to happen with my mom. Has it happened with dad too? No, I'm pretty sure it's happened with. I know I've seen somebody get their keys stuck in a car. I feel like I was legit when that used to happen. I used to be sitting there like, damn, bro.
To do in the situation.
But like, imagine having to still deal. Well, I mean, some people do. Some people do still deal with that.
You decide to call your boyfriend, and you find the nearest outdoor payphone.
But look now, see, bro, this shit dangerous. That shit dangerous, low key.
Which luckily was only a few feet away on site at the gas station. As you head over to the payphone, you notice a car pulling into the gas station, but it's not pulling into a bay to collect gasoline. It's pulling up right beside you. Before you're even able to take the phone off the hook, you notice the person in this vehicle asking if you need some help. You politely decline, but tell them you appreciate the offer. The man in the truck almost over-enthusiastically insists that it's not an issue. This man tells you to just get into his truck and he'll drive you the few feet back to your car.
All right, okay, this is like 101. You know what I'm saying? Safety 101. Rule of thumb, bro. And never, always, like, it's always better to be safe than sorry, so always follow this rule. But if you tell a nigga no, or if you tell somebody you ain't trying to do something, or you ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like in this situation, if somebody comes back with the enthusiastic motherfucker, you gotta hit him with you gotta pull out the glick and shoot him right in between the eyes, bro. Because they're trying to kill you.
He'll park his truck and he'll get all the tools out necessary to help you get your keys out of your car. Reluctantly, you accept.
Because why not just say no, bro? Like, no cap. Think about it, bro. This is a random person pulled up to me while I'm trying to call somebody on the phone. And then how did the person know that her keys were stuck in the car or not? Because he ain't say that. But for some reason, when the dude pulled up, he knew that. I don't know. But either way, you know what I'm saying? You pull up, or you're standing there trying to call somebody and the car pull up next to you right there.
Man, quit playing with me, man. No, for real, don't play like that.
You're at a gas station, bro. The car got no business pulling up right there, bro. That nigga probably had business going on before he pulled up. Niggas ain't just roaming, bro. Niggas are not just roaming outside. You see somebody just pull up next to you, they are roaming. You know what they roaming for? You know what they roaming for?
Accept the help, because you know it's late and your boyfriend is
I know what they roaming for.
Although, as soon as you get into this man's truck, the demeanor changes, and unfortunately, you would never be seen again. Well, that is, at least for 18 years, because it wouldn't be until March of 2016 when your remains would finally be found. The story you just heard is based on the reality of one of the many victims of the Texas killing fields. This story specifically was based on what happened to Kelly Ann Cox, a 20-year-old woman who went missing on July 15th in 1997 at a Conoco gas gas station and wasn't found until March 15th, 2016, when investigators were brought to her remains. This extremely upsetting and disturbing story I just told was unfortunately not rare for the Texas killing fields. And the series of events that took place in this situation are extremely consistent with almost every murder that took place. Now, if you're a keen listener, obviously the Texas killing fields isn't a person, it's a location. And that's because the Texas killing fields isn't just associated with one serial killer. It's actually associated with numerous serial killers, all of which we'll get into. But first, let's further discuss this area of Texas as a whole.
Numerous is crazy. Numerous serial killers in one area is insane, bro. That means, bro, that motherfucker is not well guarded, bro. You need to, how do you, I wouldn't say let, I'm not gonna be like that nigga, but bro, multiple murders in the same area, bro. Like at that point, I would just start flooding that area with police, bro. Like there wouldn't never be a time where that area in Texas doesn't have police, bro. And I thought Florida was crazy, bro. What's going on in Texas, man?
Texas killing fields is a nickname that was given to an area of land surrounding the I-45 highway, which is located in southeast Houston, Texas. I know we started the first Killers on the Loose video with the I-75 killer, which may seem similar at face value, but understand, the I-75 killer was only one individual, and his murders took place all across the country. And the killing fields is rather a stark contrast, because although all of the Texas killing fields killings took place near the I-45 highway, the actual area where the bodies were found was extremely compact. Specifically,
like what? So all of the bodies were found in this area? This is all the same area. Look at the street. Bam, 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 bam. Should definitely got a bam, bam over there. Like, once again, bro, like, they're all these niggas are found in the same area, too, bro. I'm telling you, this place will have the most police if I was in charge.
being a 25-acre patch of land in League City,
Shit, I might be out there, you know what I'm saying? Might have to stand charge with a claw.
Texas. And it's in this patch of land where over 34 bodies have been found since the 1970s. And as I stated previously, it's not only suspected, but confirmed that numerous serial killers have been active in this rather confined area. Now, focusing in on this area for a second, what makes this area so special? Is there something in the water that's just causing these Texas residents to begin killing, or is there more to it? And while it hasn't officially been confirmed, authorities who have been working the case for decades now have more or less come to the conclusion that the Texas killing fields are a perfect place to kill somebody and get away with it, which is a terrifying quote to hear from.
Exactly, bro. How are you an officer saying it's the perfect place to? I don't know, bro. If that's the perfect place to kill somebody, the officers need to be playing 4D chess, bro. They need to be seeing that and then guarding that place like crazy, just so they can catch the niggas who think it's really sweet.
Law enforcement. But to further drive this point home,
that's what I would do if I was a chief, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Bro.
Man who actually directed the Texas Killing Fields movie in 2011 said this about the Killing Fields patch of land. Quote, "You could actually see the refineries in the south end of League City. You could see the I-45. But if you yelled, no one would necessarily hear you. And if you ran, you wouldn't necessarily have anywhere."
Damn, so that probably is damn. Like, we only seen it from the map view, but that land is probably crazy big if he's just explaining it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, where we at, man? I ain't trying to do all that. But yeah, like literally, bro, like if you can see the highway, but you can scream and nobody's gonna be able to hear you. It's probably the thing where you can see the highway, but the highway cannot see you. That's crazy, bro. You have like spots like that, bro. And how does it feel to be like hopeless in that type of way? Like,
refineries in the
you really can't do nothing, bro. Unless it was me, bro. You know, I'm hitting that 4 flat dash, bro. Like niggas never catching me, bro.
south end of League City. You could see the I-45, but if you yelled, no one would necessarily hear you. And if you ran, you wouldn't necessarily have anywhere to go.
Cap, bro. If you could see the I-95, bro, what is it, I-95? Bro, I'm running to the I-95. There's nowhere to go. It's nowhere to go. And on top of that, he ain't got no gun, bro. He's not catching me, bro. Because he's going to have to keep running after me. I always like had this weird thought, like, what if I was running away from somebody in a field? Like, imagine that. You're running away from somebody in like a big ass field. And it's nowhere you can hide. It's nowhere you can really go. And there's no one around to help you. So it's just you and the nigga that's chasing you running. But the nigga that's chasing you ain't got no gun, so they have to catch you with their hands. Like, imagine how long y'all are running for. Like, when would the person give up? How long would I run? Like, I'd run all the way, bro. Because what if he's athletic too? Like, 2 athletic niggas running. One running for their life. And then one just running after. Does the person ever get away? Nigga like me getting away.
And And that quote alone kind of
Facts.
highlights how there are two major landmarks in the killing fields. However, neither of them are extremely helpful for somebody who's being victimized in between the two. And because of this, if you are somebody who is traveling in this area alone, you are unfortunately vulnerable. And while the Texas killing fields may be in a bit of a unique geographical location, this part of Houston isn't the only part of the country that's like this. So part of me feels like there's more to it. But honestly, that's just speculation. Focusing
Bro, Texas is too big, bro. That's probably what it is, bro. Texas, I say, bro, Texas is a big ass state, bro. I done drove through that motherfucker a couple times, bro. That motherfucker is hell. It's too big, bro. I got too much space, bro. And then kind of the same thing with like any desert state, like Arizona, I guess Nevada. Like, yeah, Nevada. Like, you just find pockets of places where you just won't see not a damn thing, bro. I'm talking about, bro. You're cooked if you left out there Walter White style, nigga. That shit's bad, bro. That shit's bad.
back in on the victims of the Texas killing fields. As of right now, at least 34 bodies have been recovered in this 25-acre patch of land. And these murders have been happening as early as the 1970s and as recently as the late 2000s. And if you watched part 1 or watched basically any true crime at all, then you can probably theorize on who was the primary target of the Texas killing fields. The victims were, of course, young women, with a majority of these women not being women at all, but literally being children, with some of the victims being girls as young as 12 years old. However, with at least 34 murders taking place in a 25-acre patch of land in a time frame that spans over 50 years.
25 acres. How big is 25 acres? I'm looking at these houses right here. I'm trying to use these houses to compare the size of this entire land. But just off those houses, this shit big, but is it that big? Is it?
The vast majority of the murders that took place in the killing fields are still unsolved to this day. However, that doesn't mean that none have been solved. And I am now going to discuss the unfortunately small number of convictions that have taken place so far. The first conviction involves Clyde Edwin Hedrick. He was investigated for the suspicious death of Ellen Beeson. During this investigation, he admitted that he and her had both gone swimming in a nearby lake after leaving a local bar. And he stated that while they were swimming, she accidentally drowned in the water. But he also claimed
while they were swimming, she accidentally drowned in the water. Bro, that's the oldest trick in the book.
That he only hit her body because he was scared of being accused for foul play.
And he was scared of being accused. Bro, that's literally like the oldest play, bro. In a way. It's like you hit an officer with that one, bro. It's like that nigga might just slap you, bro. You're gonna get mad that you're testing his intelligence, bro. Because I would. Ain't no damn way you expect me to believe that.
Which I think we can both instantly see through. But unfortunately, at the time, no cause of death could be ascertained. And because of that, in 1996, already 11 years after the murder took place, Hedrick was convicted of abusing a corpse and was sentenced to only 1 year of jail. Now, if the story only ended there, it would be unfair of me to call that a murder, because legally, he was only tampering with a body, which is, well, already disgusting. But of course, the story does not end there. In 2011, Hedrick's ex-wife approached authorities and said that her ex-husband would frequently make incriminating remarks about Beeson's death. And it was this information, along with a second autopsy of Beeson's body, that resulted in authorities getting an arrest warrant that eventually resulted in charges against Hedrick in 2014. Hedrick was officially convicted of manslaughter and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. However, he was released in 2021 and today walks among us. Everything
hell no. See, that's it. That's what, like I was saying at the beginning of this video. That's the man across the street while you're outside in your robe trying to get your mail. That's the man across the street walking his dog.
Is a fact. But
I'm just joking. Don't be scared of your neighbors.
No.
If we're willing to dive into a bit of speculation, it's been alleged that Hedrick made 2 jailhouse confessions during his time in prison. And according to these confessions, he claimed to have murdered 2 other women without ever being caught, making this conviction that much more unsatisfying. The second pair of confessions associated with the Texas killing fields come from 1987, when a 30-year-old man named Robert King called the El Paso police, claiming that a year prior in 1986, him and his friend attacked, assaulted, and murdered a young woman named Shelley Sykes. These men were promptly arrested, and they made a deal with authorities that if they could show the police where the body was, they would avoid life sentences. However, during the investigation, they were unable to uncover the body. And because of this, these 2 men were only convicted of aggravated kidnapping, but still received life sentences in 1998. These 2 men, while obviously monsters, are no longer an issue, because both of these men had died behind bars, one in 2015 and one in 2020. The third conviction involves a man named Kevin Smith. In 1996, a 13-year-old girl named Crystal Baker left her grandmother's house to go use a payphone to call her friend to ask her friend if she could stay over. And during her trip from her grandmother's house to the payphone, she was picked up, assaulted, murdered, and dumped, and her body was only found 2 hours later. However, although her body was only found 2 hours after the incident took place.
Bro, thank goodness niggas don't have to go to payphones no more, bro. Oh my God. You know how many people I would not talk to if I had to go to payphones? Bro, it's already hard to communicate with a phone in my pocket, bro. Payphone? You want me to get out my bed? You want me to walk outside, bro? Imagine it's cold, bro. Imagine it's hot, bro. Hell nah.
Would take
niggas ain't never gonna hear from me, bro. You gotta see me in person. Just pull up to the crib, bro. You're not gonna. Niggas ain't ever gonna talk.
16 years for justice to be served. And that's because in 2009, Kevin Smith was arrested on a drug charge in Louisiana. And around that same time, DNA evidence from Baker's dress was also being analyzed. And with both of these investigations taking place at the same time, a connection between the two was made. And in 2012, Smith was found guilty of capital murder, where he is currently spending a life sentence in prison. And the final conviction associated with the Texas killing fields involves William Lewis Reese. In May of 1997, Reese was arrested for kidnapping and attempting to murder a 19-year-old girl. During this kidnapping, this woman was fortunately able to escape, and he was found and convicted and sentenced to a 60-year prison term. During his time in prison, in 2015, his DNA was linked to another murder that took place in 1997, the same year he kidnapped the victim we just spoke about. After this connection was made and the metaphorical cat was out of the bag, Reese confessed to 4 additional murders and was sentenced to death. On top of all of these 4 convictions that took place, there was also an additional 3 suspects that were very likely involved with some of the murders but were never charged. Now, to bring the Texas killing fields back to the original point of this video, as you can see, with only 4 convictions taking place, with a total of 7 confirmed murders within those 4 convictions, that still leaves 27 unsolved murders that have taken place in the Texas killing fields. Meaning that it is an undeniable fact that there are multiple killers and likely serial killers that are on the loose who have actively participated in the atrocities of the Texas killing fields and were never caught. I know this first section was a bit longer than normal, but this...
That's crazy, bro. To have a whole spot in your state where niggas can murder and not get caught.
Story truly...
I don't know. How does that even work? I don't know how you can have a spot. Like, I swear, I feel like that part would be so... And you know what's crazy? They'll over-police us, though. You got murders going on in Texas. You got murders. Multiple unsolved, but they'll over-police black communities, bro. And put the police over there.
So much depth, and I wanted to bring some of that to light.
I feel like, bro, after like the second one in the same spot, third one max, bro. Third one in the same spot, bro. That motherfucker's gonna be crawling, bro. Like, you're not gonna be able to take a step without a nigga looking at you crazy.
The Monster of Florence. The year is 1985. You are an Italian man in your early 20s. The girl that you've been seeing at school has finally agreed to go out with you, and tonight was the big night. It's a warm September's evening, and you go to pick her up at her house, and you plan on taking her to a place that was private and secluded, so both of you could have a conversation and potentially more in peace. After a long but pleasant drive down a dirt road, you get to your destination, and you and your date begin to discuss life, school, career paths, and you both are really hitting it off. Even though this moment has been something you've been dreaming of, something feels off. You know you're alone, but for some reason, you feel like you're being watched. Your date begins to kiss you, but for some reason you just can't seem to put your guard down. But you ultimately give in. Finally submitting to the moment, you find yourself hearing a branch crack, and you quickly look around. Your date tells you it's nothing, pulls your face closer to hers, and you both continue what you were doing.
That's a setup, bro. That's a setup. You hear cracking and shit, bro, you gotta stay on that guard, bro. Don't let no female distract you from the goal, bro. Same for the females too, bro. Don't let no nigga distract you if you finna get murked out here, bro. You hear that step? Bro, don't second guess that shit. You out there in the deep darkness, nobody around? If I hear, nah.
That is, until you hear
I'm only saying this, bro, because I'm just that type of nigga. But like, real talk, I wouldn't even do something like this, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I'm even talking like this, because I'm like, oh yeah, you hear crack in the stick, nigga. I'm heading out. You know, I'm not even pulling up. Oh, I'd rather go to the payphone.
knock on the window of your car. Your date screams and you are in shock. There is a man pointing a .22 caliber pistol directly at you and your date.
Bro, imagine you're finna get jiggy, bro. This is a girl you probably been talking to for a minute. You're gonna get jiggy. You know, like, okay, this is probably the one. Like, what if this is really like not even like no player shit? What if this is like the woman he really loved, bro? He was really finna get some from the woman he loved, and they was really finna be rocking it, like, and rolling. You know what I'm saying? And then a nigga really pull up to your window, and it's over. It's over. It's like, fuck it, bro. At that point, the gun is in your face. It's either you die or you get shot and you get hurt, bro. I'm stepping on that gas, bro. I'm not gonna lie. And if we were stopped, it's like crazy, bro. Because I'm weird with it, bro. I'm weird with it. When I be in like crazy places, not even crazy places, but like sometimes even like chill places. But like if it's nighttime or something or dark and I know it's not a lot of people around, I'm in my car. I usually don't put that shit in park. Like I don't like putting it in park. I keep it in drive and just have my foot on the gas or have my foot on the brake. But for their situation, you can't have that foot on the brake, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to do whatever y'all trying to do. You gotta keep that foot there. So it's like, damn, that's another reason like why I would never ever go to a place like this, bro. Cause I know if I'm cooked, I'm cooked.
One of the best days of your life has quickly turned into one of the worst. And before you could even process the situation, you and your date were murdered. The story that I just told is the unfortunate reality of many of the victims of the Monster of Florence. The Monster of Florence was notorious for numerous reasons, but most notably the sheer depravity of his actions and also the interesting victim selection that he had. As I alluded to in the intro story, the Monster of Florence almost exclusively targeted young couples seeking private, intimate moments, which was something that historically was almost never seen before. The murders themselves primarily took place in the province of Florence, Italy, and within those
You just sound like a hater to me, bro. You sound like a nigga that just ain't getting none, bro.
2 decades, 8 couples were murdered, resulting in a total of
Couples, bro? To specifically go after couples, bro?
16 victims. As I previously stated, all the victims were couples, and all of them were in...
I don't know what it is about that, but like it's something about going after couples that just make it feel a little worse. Like, I don't know, bro. That's just wow.
rural areas, typically attacked during intimate moments. But on top of this, the methods of murder in every instance and the aftermath was also the exact same and genuinely disturbing. What the Monster of Florence would do in nearly every murder is execute both of the partners, typically in their vehicle, with a .22 caliber pistol, and then after both of the victims were dead, the killer would then go on to mutilate the female victim with a knife. The final consistencies that took place across almost all of the murders was that the murders took place on Saturdays, typically during a new moon, when the moon was not visible in the sky. For the 2 decades that the Monster of Florence was active, he not only terrorized Italy with his actions, but was also actively taunting law enforcement, similar to situations we've seen with other killers, like the Zodiac Killer. One of the most notable communications that the Monster of Florence had with authorities was when the Monster of Florence literally mailed a letter to the district attorney working the case, and attached to this letter was a plastic bag that contained flesh from the chest of one of the last known female.
These niggas are thick. I'm sure like y'all have already realized that, but these niggas are sick.
Victims. And it was since that communication in 1985 when the Monster of Florence had gone silent. With nearly 20 years of terror and 16 victims, there has to be some information about the murder. And well, there is. But similar to the last case we discussed, the information is spotty at best. And even though convictions have been made, the most popular theory surrounding the entire Monster of Florence situation was that the true killer was never caught and is very likely on the loose to this very day. The most notable conviction was actually overturned 2 years later due to police planting evidence on somebody, and before this individual could have a retrial, he died. And his 2 alleged conspirators were only convicted of 4.
Know them police was tight, bro. But then again, bro, you can't plant evidence on a nigga. But if it was really him, maybe the police... Nah, I'm not going to say that, bro. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say maybe the police knew this or something. Nah, the people... Nah. But still, though, for this all to happen, and then...
of the 8 murders. Admittedly, that summary is a rather large oversimplification of the entire conviction situation. But to spare this section from being as long as the first one, just understand that the only prime suspect that authorities ever had was convicted of 7 of the 8 double murders, only to be appealed 2 years later because it was found out that the police literally planted evidence at his home, and even though this conviction was appealed, this individual died before he could have a retrial. Meaning that already there are so many unanswered questions.
So, and like, it really could have been him, but like the police just dropped the ball, like... Damn.
Stated his 2 alleged co-conspirators were officially convicted of 4 of the 8 double murders, but that still means that there are 4 other double murders that took place with no suspect ever caught and brought to justice. Some people believe that Pajani, the original prime suspect, was actually the Monster of Florence, while others believe that the Monster of Florence was actually not one person but the acts of a murder cult that existed in Florence. And I think one of the most popular beliefs was that the true Monster of Florence was somebody that was not on the radar of authorities at all. They were an elusive shut-in who was skilled and methodical and knew how to stay away from the spotlight. Regardless of which theory you believe, the undeniable consistency among all of them is that the true Monster of Florence was never caught. And although some of these murders date all the way back to 1968, there is still a likely chance that the Monster of Florence, or at least one of the Monsters of Florence,
could be living next to you.
Don't play like that, man.
To this very day. The Monster of the Andes. Since we're already discussing monsters from other parts of the world, I figured Pedro Lopez, the Monster of the Andes, would be the perfect next entry for this list. Unintentionally, part 1 of the series was pretty US heavy, so for that reason, I tried to make part 2 a bit more international. But
not facts, bro. I'm tired of talking. Wait, no, the last one was in Italy. Never mind.
Said, let's focus back in on the Monster of the Andes. The Monster of the Andes was a nickname given to Pedro Lopez, a Colombian serial killer with probably one of the most insane stories you've ever heard. Pedro Lopez was born in 1948 and committed his first murder in 1969. Over the course of 1969 to 1980, Pedro Lopez assaulted and killed anywhere from 110 to over 300 victims. Most of his victims, unsurprisingly and disturbingly, were young girls. And he committed these atrocities in
300? This is Sparta! What do you mean 300? What do you mean? No, I don't know how they get down in Colombia, bro, but that's not acceptable, bro. That's crazy.
Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. Now, stating that these murders took place from 1969 to 1980 is a bit deceptive because although the first murders that Pedro Lopez committed was in 1969, it would be the only murders he would commit until he was released from prison in 1978. And if you're following along, yes, Pedro Lopez's first murders actually took place in jail. In 1969, Pedro Lopez was sentenced to 7 years in prison for stealing a car. And after only 2 days in jail, he was assaulted by 4 men in that prison, and instead of reporting this crime, he decided to kill all 4 of these men with a makeshift knife. These murders were deemed self-defense, but it still added 2 years onto his prison sentence. And it wasn't until 1978 when he was a free man once again and decided to begin killing.
Yeah, see? That's where it started, bro. He got his first little taste of right up in jail, bro. And now he got that taste. He like, damn, this shit kind of scratched that itch. Hell no. I wonder like how these really be like rationalizing the shit that they be doing. Or they just don't. They just do it.
Innocent people. From 1978 to 1980.
Hold up, bro. This dog is under this desk, bro. Hey, watch out with me. Come on. Thank you.
Pedro himself confirmed that he killed over 100 girls, and these girls were primarily street children that came from indigenous tribes, meaning that they were largely unverifiable. And it was that fact alone that allowed him to get away with such heinous acts for so long. It's insane to just think that somebody was able to kill over 100 people in only a 2-year span. That is on average a murder per week consistently for years. Now, here's the deal.
This nigga was killing every week.
At this point, you might be asking yourself, obviously there's no way that this man is on the loose today if we know who he is, and there is reports of him being in, well, at least the zeitgeist of authorities, but that is unfortunately where things take a turn. You see, early on in Pedro's killing spree, he was active in Peru, and he was actually captured by a Peruvian tribe when he was trying to steal a child. The local tribesmen literally tried to kill Pedro by burying him in sand, pouring syrup on his face, and allowing ants to get at him. But an American missionary convinced the tribe that instead of murdering Pedro, they should allow the American missionary to take him to the police. And reluctantly, they agreed. But unfortunately, this missionary took Pedro to the authorities, and the authorities did not detain Lopez. They simply banned him from the country. And after Pedro was banned from Peru, he continued his killing spree in Ecuador. And it wasn't long until Pedro was once again caught trying to steal a child from a village. But this time, the people were able to detain him until police arrived. And once police arrived, he was this time actually arrested. And during his interrogation, he began to talk. As I stated earlier, during this interrogation, Pedro admitted to killing over 100 girls. But at first, the police simply didn't believe him. That was until Pedro was able to bring the authorities to the remains of 53 of his victims. When at that point, the police obviously believed that they had a true insane monster in their hands. It's even stated that Pedro tried his best to take the innocence of as many children as possible, because he said that the same thing happened to him as a boy, which only further shows the depravity of this insane individual.
Yeah, he's crazy, bro. He needs some serious help. Like, what? I understand. Nah, I can't say I understand, but it's trauma. Trauma creates trauma, but that shit is insane, bro. Damn. And that's his philosophy behind it, because he was broken as a boy. You want to break as many people? You want to kill as many people? That's crazy, bro.
Even though
kids, bro, killing a doll or something, bro. Like kids, nigga didn't even get to live their life yet, bro. Damn. Like just knowing how my life has gone, if my shit was cut short, of course, me being younger, I wouldn't know how the rest of my life would be or up to right now. But I do know up to right now. So to think back and say like, well, imagine if I got clapped up when I was 9 or 10, bro.
Help me.
It's so much like you nigga really just don't experience. It's so much that it's crazy, bro.
When in police custody, Pedro admitted to the murder of at least 350 girls. During his trial, Pedro was only charged with the murder of 57 and found guilty for the murder of 3, which I have no idea how you can literally say you killed someone, take the police to their bodies, and not be convicted. But regardless, for these 3 murders he was found guilty of.
I guess because there's no evidence that he actually killed the person. Is the police trying to say that he's trying to cover up for somebody else?
He served a 16-year prison sentence, which was the maximum at the time, which is mind-blowing in my opinion. And from
Did he just say 16 years? Hold up. He was charged for 57 murders. Charged. So he wasn't convicted, but he was charged. And he was found guilty of 3. And he gets 16 years?
Okay.
Bro, what is 16 divided by 3? Like how much he gets like certain years off of each murder, right? That's 16 divided by 3. What's that fucking like a little more than 4? That's like 5. Like it's like 5.5, like 5 and a third year. 5 years? You're going 5 years off a kill? 16 off of 3?
The murder of 3.
That has to be like life, bro. I feel like low key, like 1 murder, especially unjustified, bro, is life. But 3, and then with charged with 57, that's insane, bro. That's insane.
Which I have no idea how you can literally say you killed someone, take the police to their bodies, and not be convicted. But regardless, for these 3 murders he was found guilty of, he served a 16-year prison sentence, which was the maximum at the time, which is mind-blowing in my opinion. And from 19...
So you're saying no matter what anybody does, the max amount of time they can spend in jail is 16 years? Is that how that works, or is that the max for murder?
1980 to 1994, Pedro was obviously in prison. Now, if you're asking yourself, wait, that's not 16 years, that's 14 years. You're right. He was actually let out of jail 2 years early, which only further...
And why? He got let out just to kill some more, right? He got let out just to continue doing what he was doing. Bro, this man is sick, bro.
further boggles my mind. And then immediately after his release in 1994, he was committed to a mental hospital where he stayed from 1994 till 1998. Now, in case everything I'd mentioned was just truly not disturbing and disgusting and upsetting enough, things are about to get a lot worse. Because in 1998, Pedro was officially released from the mental hospital, and as of 1999, Pedro has officially disappeared and has not been spotted anywhere by anyone. And although legally speaking, Pedro did serve his time and was no longer a fugitive, the fact that he's out of prison blows my mind. But the fact that he was let out of prison and was not tracked or followed or anything blows my mind even further. But the reality of the situation is this.
Like, he doesn't have no, like, you know, when I think, like, if someone does like something to a child or something, or a predator, like something like that, don't they have like a thing, like it's a thing that you go on a registry and you have to like tell them where you live, like every I think year, every 2 years, like however that works. But you have to keep up to date because niggas gotta know what you're doing. This man is out doing whatever he's doing, and nobody knows, bro. Like, nobody knows where he's at, nobody knows what he's doing, nobody knows for how long. You know what I'm saying? Like, which I ain't trying to be on a nigga's back, especially if a nigga's like doing good now. But my nigga, you killed how many people, bro? That shit's crazy, bro. You're at low key, you should still be in jail.
Pedro Lopez, a man who self-confessed killed over 350 young girls in a 2-year span, nearly one murder every other day, was only found guilty on 3 counts of murder, and for the last 26 years has been completely off the grid, and his whereabouts are, well, unknown. I don't know about you, but if somebody goes on a mass killing spree of children with the sole goal of taking their innocence, I don't think anything is going to stop them. Which is why it's an undeniable fact that Pedro Lopez is on the loose to this day. But it's also my personal opinion that he's likely active, even though he is currently 77 years old. If you're a big true crime fan, then Shady...
Man, let that 77-year-old man try something, bro. Oh my gosh, let me see that nigga Lopez, bro.
or shoddy police work is definitely not something that you're unaware of. But in my opinion, this
Let me chill out, bro. He might slaughter my shit.
case is one of the most egregious examples of just poor legislation, resulting in one of the most disgusting serial killers in modern history to be served the equivalent of a slap on the wrist. And I guess speaking of serial killers that could possibly be active currently, I think this is a good point to transition from killers that are just on the loose to killers that are very likely active right now. Before we move on to this more or less speed round of potentially currently active killers, I did just want to say that there was a lot more entries I wanted to put on this list, but as you saw,
maybe that's enough for today. That's enough carnage for today. Let me know how you like that video, and if y'all really messing with it, we'll watch the rest of it. I just don't want it to be too long, bro, because this shit finna be forever to edit, bro. I'm trying to be more consistent with you guys, and also hopefully y'all are watching it still. If not, whatever. But I also want to ask, like, I wanted to start doing like games and shit. Maybe 2K, maybe Five Nights at Freddy's, like some scary shit. I know my ass screaming this motherfucker. But I just want to see if that's something y'all be interested in. If not, I'm probably still gonna do that shit. Maybe just later on, just not as soon. But if y'all interested in that shit, I'll put it on the schedule to do something, to do it sooner. Yeah, that's enough of this motherfucking shit today, man. What the Lopez was the worst one. So let's all do our due diligence, guys, and make sure we're never living. Damn. Let's all do our due diligence and make sure we're never living next to a Lopez. Because, you know what? What? Alright, y'all say goodbye to Remy. Remy! Is that busy? Y'all have a good one.